Okay, this is NFS Fan 38, and I want to talk a little bit today about what I call a 72-hour kit. And some people call them different things. They've been called bug out bags, they've been called grab bags, they've been called panic bags. I've heard them called all kinds of things, but I prefer to call it a 72-hour kit because for me, that's what I'm going for, is a kit that will be able to tide me over for 72 hours in event of some sort of emergency. Now, I know you've heard it all before. You've seen the videos, you've seen the blogs, and everything that talks about what you should have in a kit. But I like to talk today specifically about some of the things that you don't hear about as often in a kit. I mean, I know you hear about it all the time. You know, everyone knows you should have a first aid kit, you should have a flashlight, you should have spare batteries, you should have some food, hygiene supplies. We've all heard it. But today I'd like to talk about some of the things you might not think about as much putting in a kit, but are still important to put in there. First of all, cell phone. You want to make sure that you have a cell phone that works and carry it on you at all times if all possible. That's pretty much the style, and everything's up to you. Just get something that's dependable. On top of that, when you get a cell phone, don't forget about your old cell phone. A lot of people have a tendency of doing that. They get a new cell phone and they're done with their old cell phone. They don't use it anymore. Well, the neat thing about having an old cell phone around, and particularly in a 72-hour kit, is even though it's not connected, it's not on a service point or anything like that, in the event of emergency, you can see right here, it says emergency. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it says emergency. So you can press that button and make an emergency call to say 911. So I put that in there, as well as wall charger and a car charger for that. It's very handy to have in case of emergency, in case your cell phone that you currently use dies. Source of light, other than a flashlight, I have right here one of those tap on tap off LED lights. Of course, you'll want spare batteries for that as well. Binoculars, you may or may not have those in your bag already, maybe in your camping equipment. Got a magnifying glass here. I've had this since I was a little kid. Works great. And here's something that I definitely want to make sure to talk about, is an amateur radio. If you're not an amateur radio operator, I highly recommend that you look into it. There's all kinds of neat stuff that you can do with ham radio that you probably don't even realize. You can even use amateur radio to connect to the internet and talk to people on the complete opposite side of the world. So there's a lot of neat stuff that you can do with that. So I'm going to set that aside over here. And also I have a wall charger for it. And I keep the car charger in my car since I use my radio fairly often, and I charge it in my car fairly often. So I'll keep that there. Also, you'll probably want some sticky notes and plenty of pins. Here's a great find right here. This is biodegradable camp soap. This is made by Ozark Trail. I'm sure there are other kinds out there. But this is great because it can be used for just about anything and everything. It can be used for washing dishes. It can be used for washing clothes. It can be used for washing your body, washing your hair. And it doesn't smell bad either. In fact, I would say it smells fairly decent. It smells pretty good. So I recommend this stuff. It's good. And it's very highly concentrated, so a little bit goes a long way. Another item that probably a lot of people don't think about putting in an emergency supply kit are handheld games. This here is just a little game that I got as a stocking stuffer when I was a kid, and I've had it forever, and it still works. I've never had to change the battery. It runs off of some little teeny tiny battery inside there. I don't even know what. I've never had to change it. But you know what? In an emergency situation, you're probably going to get stuck sitting in camp hiding from the rain, maybe. Or you might have a crying kid next to you who's bored and wants something to do. You know what? Never hurts to have something like this in a kit. And it's small, it's lightweight. You know, it barely weighs a thing. So, I'd keep this in my kit. Alright, and real quick, one more thing I want to show you. And this I very highly recommend. It is my old Boy Scout handbook. And if you don't have one, if you were never in the Boy Scouts, you can go pick one up somewhere for used for probably pretty cheap. Or you can get a new edition. And I'm sure those ones are great too. I've never used a new one. This is one I'm familiar with. This is one I grew up with. So this is one I use. I believe this is the 10th edition. This is one I have. I've highlighted important chapters and marked them on the sides. Most importantly, first aid right there. So in case I need it, there's all kinds of information about first aid starting right there. There you got it. There's information on outdoors, hiking, supply lists of recommended supplies, very useful. And, you know, of course there's ropes and cooking and all kinds of great stuff in here, how to use your different tools and things. And I very highly recommend having a Boy Scout handbook, or at least some kind of wilderness survival guide. So anyway, that's about it that I have right here. Oh, one more thing. I have a metal whistle. Can be used for signaling people who are just far away to get their attention, or an emergency situation. It can be used to get people's attention who may not even know you're out there, if you're injured or attacked or whatever. So, like I said, I just kind of wanted to go over some of the not as obvious things today, and you know, not going over any weapons. Most people, if you want to carry weapons, they're great resources of places to find information about that. That's not exactly what this video is about. This is more about the everyday stuff that you don't think about every day. So that's about it. This is NFS Fan 38.